Dave Scott Hub Media, joined by my good friend Randy Helmo. It's the Boomer Music Experience. Randy, with everything that goes on in the world these days, I think you and I were talking off air. As Canadians, we're really proud of who we are, and we're surrounding ourselves in that environment in these kind of crazy, mixed up political days. But it's so important to always recognize who we are as Canadians too, and to be aware of the folks that made this country great. And in music, we're going to talk about a Canadian legend today. And I was so excited when you brought this up to me and said, "Hey, what about this person?" And I know you've got all the facts. I'm kind of trying to tease people here about who we're going to talk about, but we got to let the cat out of the bag sooner or later. This is one of the true Canadian icons. Who are we talking about today, Mr. Helmo?
Dave, we are talking about the most decorated, most accomplished female singer ever from Canada, Anne Murray.
There you go. Hey.
Yeah. Anne Murray was born June 20th, 1945. Her birth name was Morna Anne Murray. She is a Canadian retired singer of pop, country, and adult contemporary music, and she has sold over 55 million album copies worldwide during her 40-year career. How good is that?
I did not know she sold that many. Holy smokes.
And Anne has also won 4 Grammys, including the Grammy Award for the Best Female Pop Vocal Performance in 1979. What I'm going to do at the end of the broadcast, Dave, I'm just going to briefly highlight the number of awards that Anne has won. But first of all, this is kind of light background information. Anne was the first Canadian female solo singer to reach number 1 in the U.S. charts. Of course, that would be the Billboard Top 100. And she earned a gold record. Yes, back then they were called gold records for one of her signature songs. And this was May 4th, 1970, Snowbird.
Yeah.
And everybody knows Snowbird.
Everybody does.
Great song. Now, she's often cited as one of the female Canadian artists who paved the way for other Canadian success stories too. For example, I'll just mention a few. Celine Dion, Shania Twain, Katie Lang, just to mention a few. Anne is well known for her Grammy Award-winning 1978 number 1 hits, and there were several, but one stands out more than others, entitled, and everyone knows this one too, You Needed Me.
Yeah.
And she's the first woman, the first Canadian to win Album of the Year in the 1984 Country Music Association Awards for her Gold Plus 1983 album entitled A Little Good News. Wow, that's something. That's really good. So here we have it. As I mentioned earlier, Anne Murray was born June 20th, 1945 in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. Her genres, as we mentioned earlier, include country, soft rock, pop, and adult contemporary. So here she transverses 4 or 5 different musical genres. And of course, instruments, her voice, but she also plays a mean guitar too.
Yeah.
Her years of active touring, 1967, which was Canada's centennial year, right up to the year 2008. Now, her record labels, and this is very important to know, her record labels included Capitol Records, huge, huge, Liberty, huge, EMI Canada. There's also an EMI UK, but she was EMI Canada. Also, Capitol Records out of Nashville.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So these are huge record labels, the best of the best during that time frame of her 4 decades of music. And of course, you can go to her website. It's all lowercase, AnnMurray.com, HTTP colon double slash AnnMurray.com. Again, that's all lowercase. Okay. Boy,
Hey,
I'll tell
Randy,
you.
when in 1970 when Snowbird comes out
Mhm.
and you're hearing that, what was your first impression?
I thought that was an extremely good tune. It was a toe tapper. It's a good dance tune. And I thought, here's a gal. This gal's going to go far. She's got a good
Really?
voice. She knows how to articulate her voice, the octaves, the highs, the lows. And definitely, I know she's had some other signature songs, but to my way of thinking, Dave, Snowbird is hers and hers alone. This is her signature song.
They put her on the map. Did they recognize her like when those early days? Was she recognized as an artist or a Canadian first? I'm just curious.
I think she was recognized as an artist first,
Okay.
and then later on down, she started making hits and hit songs and this and that and records. Then they tied her in
That
with Canada.
Canadiana, yeah, the Canadiana came along, right? As
That's
as
right.
as
Yeah.
she grew in stardom.
Yeah.
And did that Snowbird, you probably got this information, it's probably coming, but was it released in Canada? Like was it did it come out here first or was she already on the precipice with one of the larger labels? Like it was going North America, I guess I'm asking.
Yeah. This was a first for Anne. And some of the CEOs and executives of Capitol Records had heard it. And
Boom.
they picked it up right away. They
Yeah.
knew it was going to be. And then even after that, they were keeping a close eye on her because they knew Anne Murray from Canada, this gal was very talented. And they took full charge of that. And yeah, Capitol Records, like when you were on Capitol Records back
You
in
were
that
going
time
somewhere.
frame, you were in like Flint.
Yeah, you were going somewhere. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
So now we're going to take a look at Anne's early life. As I mentioned, she was born in the coal mining town of Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. Her father, Dr. James Carson Murray, was the town's physician, and her mother, Marion Margaret Murray, she was a nurse involved in community charity work. Wow. So, doctor and nurse,
Yeah.
mother and father, good medical team. Anne had 5 brothers.
Oh,
Uh, Murray's father died of leukemia at the age of 72 in 1980. Her mother died April 10th, 2006, at the age of 92. That was after a series of strokes during heart surgery. And Murray's youngest daughter, Bruce, I remember this quite vividly, he died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 69 on September 15th, 2020. That's just 5 years ago.
so that was her youngest brother?
Sorry, what was that,
Was
Dave?
that her youngest brother?
Yes, Bruce,
Okay.
Bruce Murray, yeah. So after expressing an early interest in music, Anne studied piano for 6 years. By the age of 15, she took a bus ride every Saturday morning from Spring Hill to Tatamagouche, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, Nova Scotia, for singing lessons. Wow. And one of her earliest performances, Dave, was the song Ave Maria.
Oh, wow.
And that was she sung that at her high school graduation in 1962. Following high school, Anne attended Mount St. Vincent University in Halifax for only a year. She later studied physical education at the University of New Brunswick in Fredericton. Now, after receiving her degree in 1966, Anne taught physical education and the Athena Regional High School in Summerside, PEI. Wow. And that was only for 1 year.
Yeah.
And her brother, Bruce Murray, he released several recordings of his own with several songs on the RPM charts between the years of 1976 and 1982.
Didn't know that. That's interesting.
Let's now take a look at the early years of Anne's career. In 1965, Anne appeared on the University of New Brunswick student project record called The Groove. Hey, of course, vinyl, 1965. There were 500 copies pressed. She sang 2 songs on the record. One was the, of course, Unchained Melody, made so popular in May of 1964 by the Righteous Brothers. And the other one was A Little Bit of Soap, also a good hit in the early 60s by the Jarmels. Good song. On the label, her name was misspelt, though. Shame, shame, shame. They spelled Anne Murray, they spelled Murray, Murry, instead of Murray.
Interesting.
Oh, dear. Well, anyway, she was encouraged to audition for the 1960s CBC musical variety television show entitled Sing Along Jubilee. That was a great, great television show. But she was not offered a singing position. I find that difficult to believe. I don't know. After a summer of singing in local venues across the Maritimes, Anne began teaching physical education at the high school in Summerside, Prince Edward Island. After 1 year of teaching, she was cast finally for Sing Along Jubilee. Now, as a regular member of the Sing Along Jubilee cast, Anne appeared on the Sing Along Jubilee Volume 3 soundtrack, Our Family album. Finally, finally, finally. Let's now take a look at her chart successes, the 1970s right up to the 1980s. What About Me, the lead single and title cut on Anne's debut album, was written by Scott McKenzie. Well, we know Scott McKenzie, great writer. Be sure to wear a flower in your hair.
Oh,
San
I didn't know
Francisco,
that.
Scott McKenzie. And the project covered songs also by Joni Mitchell, Ken DeBias, and John Denver. Wow. After a year-long stint on ARC Records, Anne switched to Capitol Records in 1969. And that was to record her second album, This Way Is My Way.
Oh, there
Sounds
you
a little
go.
bit like Frank Sinatra there.
Yeah.
Which was released that fall. It featured the single that launched her career, Snowbird, which became a #1 hit in Canada. Snowbird, it became a surprise hit on the US charts as well. I don't know why it was a surprise hit on the US charts as well. Like here in Canada, it was long, long ago, a chart builder. And finally, the US charts. Oh, okay.
Can I
And
ask
it
a quick
reached number
question,
8
Randy?
on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1970.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So in 1960, Snowbird comes out, like you said, and she's not. We're both surprised that. I mean, you would think it would be just bang a #1. It would
Yeah.
just blow up in the U.S. But at the time, do you think there was probably? I mean, we're talking the '60s here too. Do you think it may be a female Canadian? They weren't ready for it. I know that sounds weird, but
You know something,
they
Dave?
didn't expect it. Maybe I don't know.
I agree with you 1000%.
Wow,
They weren't expecting a Canadian female singer of Anne's talent to hit the music world. And boy, did she hit it with Snowbird and then all her other hits.
yeah.
No, I don't think the Billboard Hot 100 were caught right off guard.
Yeah, and people were ready for it at that point. I mean, you look at that era, and there's so many. You mentioned Joni Mitchell. You look at some of the great artists that came out of Carole King, right? Those
Oh,
early
yeah, Carole
'70s.
King. Yeah,
Anne Murray and all, like they were just leading the charge for women, which was incredibly great for music.
that's right. Absolutely. And Anne, as one of the most successful female artists at that time, she began, or she became, I should say, in demand for several television appearances in Canada and the United States. And eventually, and this is really, really good. This shows you how wonderful artist, a singing artist she was from Canada. Eventually, she became a regular on the hit U.S. television series, and I watched a lot of these this series, TV series, the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour,
Glenn
and that
Campbell, yep,
was
I remember
huge
that.
on
Yeah.
TV. After the success of Snowbird, Anne had a number of subsequent singles that charted both pop and country simultaneously. During the 70s and 80s, her hits included, well, Kenny Loggins' Danny's Song, that was 1972, A Love Song, 1973, He Thinks I Still Care, You Won't See Me, 1974, and her all-time biggest 100, this would be in the Billboard Top 100, You Needed Me from 1978. Of course, Shadows in the Moonlight, Broken Hearted
Yep.
Me, I'm Happy Just to Dance with You. Um, there's one song, Dave, I want to share with our audience, and it is even to this day, whether I'm doing a wedding, a fundraiser, a seniors dance, or any of the theme dances, I can bet you even money, and I'm not a gambler like Kenny Rogers, I can bet you even money that on all of the dance request cards I hand out at the tables during whatever event it may be, Anne Murray's Could I Have This Dance is
Oh,
at least on, I would say, 50% of those dance request cards that I give out. And on these dance request cards, there's room for 5 requests,
yeah.
and then you can turn it over and put more on the backside. But can you believe that?
I wouldn't,
It's gospel truth.
and that's kind of cool that you brought that up because that's a classic. Like when you, as soon as you said it, I'm like, of course, right? But
Yeah,
it kind of had left my brain there for a bit. But you're so right there, and that would be just such a great song to have for a dance floor.
yeah. And just 2 examples of that very quickly. I was honored to do the children's Easter dance party at the Delhi German home. And here again, I passed out the dance request cards. And Anne Murray's Could I Have This Dance? That was on 16 of the dance request cards.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay, moving right ahead, moving forward. This past weekend, I was DJing at the Delhi German home for the closing dinner dance of the Bowling League and the Cornhole League.
Hmm.
And here again, Anne Murray's Could I Have This Dance showed up on 20 of the request cards.
What year did that come out?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, what year did that song come out?
Oh, that was 1980.
So,
That was the theme song from Urban Cowboy
yep,
on the motion soundtrack, 1980.
45 years later, it's still standing up,
Yeah.
stand test of time. That's awesome.
And like all due respect to Snowbird, a great song, but of all of Anne Murray's hits, Could I Have This Dance? That
Perfect.
would be my favorite. How about yourself, Dave? Do
Yeah,
you have a favorite from Anne Murray?
I'm gonna mess with you here because one of my favorites, believe it or not, is
Yeah.
she did a version of Winter Wonderland, A Christmas Carol,
Oh, yes, right
and
on.
I just always I have to play it at Christmas. I have to have an Anne
Yeah,
Murray, and I don't
absolutely.
know why it just kind of stuck with me the last 20 years, and it's just one of those songs that I've always enjoyed hearing her voice. It kind of makes I don't know, it's that Canadiana Christmas feel for me, and it's Anne
Hmm.
Murray doing it, right? So that's but yeah, all her songs are hits. But that for some reason that song gets stuck in me and I have to hear it. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know how you just have songs you have to hear, and that's I wouldn't say it's my most favorite Anne Murray song, but it's the song that I got. It's the go-to. Got to have it Christmas time, right?
All right. Anne performed O Canada at the first American League Baseball game played in Canada on
Yep.
April 7th, 1977. And that's when the Toronto Blue Jays played the Chicago White Sox at Exhibition Stadium
In a
and
snowstorm.
reprised the Canadian national anthem prior to the first World Series game held in Canada.
Yeah.
Game 3 of the 1992 World Series at Skydome. Wow. And of course, also very important, equally important, following the last game at Maple Leaf Gardens, she concluded the arena's closing ceremony by singing the Maple Leaf Forever at center ice, wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey.
I forgot
Yes.
about that. Good
Full
reminder.
marks. Full marks. Yep. And Anne's last Hot 100 hit was Now and Forever, You and Me from 1986, but it was also her last number one on both the Canadian country charts and the American country charts. Okay, let's take a look now as we look into the time frame of the 1990s to the 2000s. Anne's last charting single in the US was 1999's Every Day, which appeared on Billboard's country singles chart. In 1996, Anne signed on with the new manager, Bruce Allen. She recorded her first live album in 1997, and in 1999, she released What a Wonderful World. And this went to platinum. It's a platinum album. Like, how good is that?
So she'd had a 30-year top 30-year with music on Billboard's charts from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's pretty impressive for
Right on.
for Canadian, especially in that era of music, to come through like that so strong. And her music stood the test of time, like we talked about a few minutes ago. And it seems that that just proves it right there, doesn't it? When you have a hit, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
That's right. Yeah. And of course, as we know, Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World.
Yeah.
He made that a platinum hit too. Great voice, Louis Armstrong. Okay, getting back to Anne Murray. She released Country Crooning in the year 2002, which was the follow-up to her successful 1993 album entitled Croonin'. And wow. And of course, what she did, she dedicated this album to her friend Cynthia McReynolds, who passed away of cancer. On December 26, 2004, Anne joined other Canadian musical stars in the Canada for Asia Telethon, which was a 3-hour tsunami relief concert that was broadcast on CBC television on January the 13th, 2005. And this, of course, was to support CARE, Canada's efforts. And she also closed the show with a duet, her and Bryan Adams, another superstar for Canada. And they did a duet with What Would It Take? Anne Murray and Bryan Adams, 2004. On October 10th, 2007, Anne announced that she would embark on her final major tour. She toured in February and March of 2008 in the US on a coast-to-coast One Last Time tour, and that was followed by a run in April and May in Canada. And Anne's final public concert was held at the Sony Centre in Toronto, May 23rd, 2008. Wow.
That's beautiful theater too for music. So good for her.
Yeah. Here's another important stat that we need to share with the audience. Anne Murray's duets, Friends and Legends. This was a lovely album. It was recorded in 4 different cities, which is like, that's a hallmark right there. 4 different cities: Toronto, Nashville, New York, and Los Angeles.
Wow.
Now, according to Billboard magazine, which of course is the Bible of music right around the world, the album reached number 2 on the Canadian pop album charts, and it was certified double platinum in Canada after merely being out for only 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Like, wow,
I didn't know
that
that.
is
Didn't know
real.
about that. Yeah.
And the reason
It's
for
huge.
that, it sold over 200,000 units, 200,000 albums.
Just like that in the first
Wow.
2 months.
And that album, it was the second highest debuting CD album on the Billboard Top 200 ever.
I didn't know about that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, also, the week ending January the 2nd, 2008, the CD debuted at number 8 on Billboard's Top Country Albums chart. Well, I think it should have been number 1 or number 2. All due respect to Billboard's Top Country, but I think they missed a little of the boat on that one. Ann's album, What a Wonderful World, was re-released in July of 2008 in North America as a 14-song package. And the new Christmas album, which you alluded to earlier, Dave, titled Anne Murray's Christmas Album, was also accompanied with a bonus DVD, and that was released in October 2008.
That sounds
And
about right. Yeah.
just a great, great Christmas album. And she did a duet on the one of the Christmas albums with Elvis Presley, Silver Bells.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting.
How good is that? We now take a look at some of Anne's television career, and she had some nice television pieces here too we need to share. Anne has had 5 highly rated U.S. specials on CBS. That's over 40 million viewers each, and several Canadian specials on CBC, including Anne Murray in Nova Scotia, and also An Intimate Evening with Anne Murray, which here is the CD. I have that CD right here.
There you go.
Great, great CD. On this CD, just to name a few of the songs, Danny's song, Could I Have This Dance? You Needed Me. Oh, it's a
It's loaded.
wonderful CD.
Yeah.
Get a chance to purchase this. I would strongly recommend The Beat Goes On in Brantford. They have
Lots of those. Eh?
all kinds of music. I know
Cool.
you'd certainly see this in their store. Anne
All right.
Murray, An Intimate Evening with Anne. Now, getting back to some of her television, Anne also appeared in the Anne Murray Christmas special, Legends and Friends. She also appeared in the Walt Disney World and Anne Murray's Classic Christmas. So she's done a lot of the family Christmases with her Christmas CDs too. Now, Anne has also appeared on the Johnny Cash Show, the Bobby Vinton Show, Solid Gold, Sesame Street, of course, The Muppet Show, The Midnight Special. She's also appeared on Saturday Night Live.
I didn't know that.
The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
Oh,
I knew that one.
how big is that? The Dean Martin Summer Show. Sing Along Jubilee with Diana Storm. The Today Show. The Mike Douglas Show. That would be late 60s.
Yeah.
The Boston Pops, The Helen Reddy Show. She's been on the Oprah Winfrey Show. 2020, CNN, Perry Como's Christmas in New Mexico, the Glenn Campbell, of course, Good Time Hour. And we can go on and on and on. Oh, and the Pat Sajak Show.
The Pat Sajak Show too. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Pat Sajak, and as I mentioned, like Anne Murray, she's been on all of these very popular, the most popular TV shows during that time frame. And her 2005 CBC special, Anne Murray, The Music of My Life, broke ratings records for a Thursday night. More than 7 million Canadian viewers turned in for that. Wow. For that program. She also appeared on ABC TV's American Bandstand, of course, Dick Clark, American Bandstand. and on regional U.S. dance variety programs. On August 25th of 2008, Dave, Anne appeared on the TV program Canadian Idol as a mentor. How good is that?
I
Wow.
didn't know that. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'd like to just hit slightly on Anne's personal life. In 2009, Anne released her autobiography, All of Me, and embarked on a 15-city tour, signing book tour, I should say. And that started in Nashville in October 27th, 2009, ending in Ottawa, November 24th, 2009. And the tour also included a special In Conversation interview with Michael Posner at International Festival. And it was Michael Posner that wrote her autobiography. And you can pick that up in any of your favorite bookstores.
I'm sure it's available online too, folks. Check it out.
Yeah. We now take a look at marriage and children. In 1975, Anne married Bill Langstroth. He was a music producer and longtime host of Sing Along Jubilee. Well, and that would certainly make sense.
Yeah.
They had two children, William, born in 1976, and Dawn, born in 1979. Now, Dawn, currently, she is a singer-songwriter and artist who has recorded with her mother a number of times, including the duet Let There Be Love. And that was in the 1999 Anne Murray's What a Wonderful World album. Wow.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Anne and Dawn were featured in a mother-daughter duet of Nobody Loves Me Like You Do on Anne's hit 2008 US CD release entitled Friends and Legends. Good, 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 good. In January 1998, Anne and Dawn performed at a benefit concert for Sheena's Place, an eating disorder treatment center in Toronto. Both have spoken publicly about Dawn's struggle with anorexia nervosa.
Oh, wow.
And we all know that because of what the late Karen Carpenter went through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, Dawn has since sought treatment and she continues to pursue a career in music. Good
Cool.
for Dawn.
Yeah.
Good for
Excellent.
Dawn. Anne lived in Thornhill, Ontario for over 40 years, from the late 70s through to 2019. In 2019, she returned to live in her home province of Nova Scotia, settling in Halifax. That was 2019. Gee, just 6 short years ago.
Yeah.
We now take a look at the different causes that Anne supported. Anne kept close ties with her hometown Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, and that's located about 1 hour east of Moncton, New Brunswick, I believe. Yeah, about an hour east of Moncton, New Brunswick, and 2 hours north of Halifax, Nova Scotia. The Anne Murray Centre is located in Spring Hill, and it opened on July 28th, 1989, and it houses a collection of memorabilia from both her personal life and her professional career as a singer. Wow. And the main goal of the center aims to foster tourism in the area and promote awareness of the music of Nova Scotia and Canada. And how fitting. Mm-hmm. So fitting right there. And all the revenue that is generated, Dave, from its operation is used to provide employment for local people and for its ongoing maintenance of the center. Wow, that's priceless.
That's pretty cool.
Anne was involved in the construction of the Dr. Carson and Marion Murray Community Center in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. She served as honorary chair of the fundraising campaign to replace the town arena that collapsed after a Pee-wee hockey tournament in the year 2002. Of course, it was named for her late parents, Dr. Carson and Marion Murray, and rightly so. The actual center, it seats 800 people. There's also a walking track, a multi-purpose room, and a community room. So it's kind of a
It fits everything in that
conglomeration of
community. Yeah.
different theme rooms. Anne was also involved in a variety of charitable organizations, being the honorary national chairperson of the Canadian Save the Children Fund. She served as a spokeswoman for many charities throughout her career, most recently the Colon Cancer of Canada. And the Colon Cancer of Canada launched the inaugural Anne Murray Charity Golf Classic. Now we're talking golf.
I was going to say she's a big time golfer, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yes, absolutely. And excuse my ignorance, I didn't know this. I'm sorry, Anne. We're talking golf on the Golf Channel right here. On February 12th, 2010, Anne was one of the 8 Canadians who carried the Olympic flag during the opening ceremony of the Olympic Winter Games in Vancouver. Anne was a public supporter of the Canadian environmentalist David Suzuki's Nature Challenge.
Yeah, Nature Challenge.
Now, Anne Murray, a longtime golf enthusiast, Anne made history in October of 2003. Okay, LPGA Tour, eat your heart out on this one. Anne made history in the year 2003 at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino Spa in Verona, New York, by becoming the first woman to score a hole-in-one on the 108-yard par 3 17th hole at the Kayaka Golf Club. Hole-in-one. First lady to do this, Canadian Anne Murray. And on May the 11th, 2007, Golf for Women magazine named Anne Murray the world's best female celebrity golfer, noting her 11 handicap. Wow. How good is that? You know, Dave, even as she's aging gracefully here, she could go on the LPGA Tour. No problem whatsoever.
She's still hitting the ball. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
With Brooke Henderson, they would represent Canada so well. Oh, wow. Anyway, we now take a look at some of Anne's awards and honors to conclude our broadcast on Anne Murray. Anne won 4 Grammys, including 1 in the pop category, 3 American Music Awards, 3 CMA Awards, and a record 25 Juno Awards, of which she won this past February. 25 Juno Awards, unmatched. In 1995, Anne received the Governor General's Performing Arts Award for Lifetime Artistic Achievement. So this basically then, Dave, is like a Lifetime Achievement Award, which is the highest award any singer, both male or female, or even group, band, can receive. Unbelievable. Anne was ranked number 24 in the Country Music Television's 40th Greatest Women of Country Music in 2002. Well, I disagree with that. I think Anne should be in the top 5.
Yeah, I agree with you on that
number
one.
Number 24, that's
too low.
I'm sorry, but that's no. Anne was invested as an officer of the Order of Canada in 1975 and promoted to Companion of the Order of Canada in 1984. Now, this is the second highest honor that can be awarded to a Canadian civilian. She was also one of the first recipients of the newly established Order of Nova Scotia in 2002. Wow. Excuse me.
Yeah, all very, very deserving too. Like Anne Murray deserves any accolades she can get for what she's been able to accomplish during the, her time in the starting in the 70s, like you said, well, late
Mhm.
60s. But I mean, it's just kind of any accolades she's so fully deserves in this country,
And
especially when it comes to what she's done, probably to raise the profile of female musicians within our country alone. Just bringing that, pulling that
that's right.
anchor out of the water so the rest of them could come along.
Yeah. And in the year 2006, the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame chose her and Leonard Cohen as recipients of the Legacy Award, and that's for their contributions to and support of the Canadian songwriting industry. Anne was recognized for her support of Canada's songwriters through her performances and her recordings.
Cool.
And Canada Post has, yes, they have a say in this too. On June 29th, 2007, Canada Post issued a limited edition of the Anne Murray stamp. She was recognized along with three other Canadian recording artists, Paul Anka, Gordon Lightfoot,
Yeah.
and Joni Mitchell. Hey, darn good company there. On May 20th, 2016, Anne Murray was granted an honorary degree by the Mount St. Vincent University. And to end the show, Dave, I'm just going to go over very quickly some of the Grammy Award nominations. In 1970, Anne received the Best New Artist, Best Contemporary Vocal Performance for a Female, Ree Snowbird. 1973, Best Pop Vocal Performance for a Female, Danny's Song. 1974, Best Country Vocal Performance for a Female, Love Song, which she won. 1978, Record of the Year, You Needed Me. Best Country Vocal Performance by a Female, and also Walk Right Back. Now
Oh
that's an
yeah.
old Everly Brothers
Yeah.
tune, and Anne equals the Everly Brothers on this Walk Right Back. I played that last Saturday night at the German Hall, and that's a good dance tune. And Anne does supreme justice to it, and she matches the Everly Brothers note for note on this song. I guarantee you. Get a chance, listen to both versions. Well worth the listening. And Best Country Performance for a Female in 1980, she won it. Could I Have This Dance?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So those are just a few Grammy Award nominations. And that concludes our report on Anne Murray. As I mentioned, once again, check out Anne Murray, the Ultimate Collection. And it's got all of her great hits on the CD. And you can pick up a copy of that as the beat goes on in Brantford. They have the CD of this, the Ultimate Anne Murray Collection. Nobody does it better.
It's what a great show, because I don't think I realized how much music she really did for, for everybody. But I mean, just how much that content was so widely recognized at
Oh,
such a high
absolutely,
level,
Dave.
right? Yeah, like you don't, like when you said the Juno Awards, how many she's won. When you said the Grammys, like I wasn't aware of that. The Country Music Awards, like I didn't know she had accomplished. I knew she was great, uh, not to understate her value. I didn't know the awards came with it as massive as they did, but that just tells you the effect she had on the whole industry in that era. And like you said, you still get requests today easily. So she carries on. She's got that longevity that music just holds true in Canadiana, and it looks like all over North America as well.
That's right. Well said, Dave. Well said. She's covered all the bases and more.
Great show today, Randy. Can't thank you enough for taking the time and you know reminding us the greatness of Anne Murray. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Dave. I've enjoyed working with you on the show, especially featuring a Canadian icon plus, Anne Murray.
And
Thanks,
it's
Dave. Have a good week.
you too. Take care, Randy.